Hello everyone, in today's video I'm gonna show you how to make core game mechanics of the game teamtrees. I'm not going to do all the animation, polishing and services that are made in the game. I plan to do second part for this tutorial where I'm going to do all that stuff. Also, if you don't want to watch whole video, there is link in the description where you can download everything that was made in the video directly from GitHub. If you will make your own version of the game, feel free to share it down in the comment section or directly on Twitter. I'd like to see them all. If you liked the video, please share, like and subscribe to the channel. So now let's get started. So in and then changing in build setting build platform to Android. So let's start with changing camera projection to orthographic and clear flex to solid color. Then we add empty game object and rename it to graphics. Then inside graphics let's create UI canvas, rename it to UI, and then in render mode change screen space to camera, then let's our camera there, and in canvas scaler change your scale mode to scale with screen size and reference resolution to full HD. Inside graphics let's create another empty game object, rename it to game. Inside it let's create another, rename it to ground, and inside ground let's create 2D object sprite, rename it to circle, and then add our circle here. Just reset position of this position and scale to like 0.8 and change tag to ground. If you don't have that tag there, just add new. And on ground we have to add circle collider 2D, set radius to 2.5 and rigid body 2D. Okay, now in circle change color to 12 BC03. Okay, now we need to IOT inside game 3D object text mesh pro. Now just change the position of it and scale, and inside it this will be a text mesh which will store how many trees are left in current level. So let's add like 12, change it to auto size and alignment to center. Alright, like this. Change the name to trees left text, and inside game we need one last thing to do, and it's create empty game object, rename it to tree spawning position, and this will be position where the tree is gonna spawn. Let's set like this and change rotation to 180. Alright, now let's move to scripts folder. Firstly we have to create one folder, scripts. Inside scripts we have to make one more folder for controllers and one for utils. So inside controllers let's create first C# script game manager, then another game controller, UI controller, then ground controller, create shell script ground controller, and now let's move to utils, and here create constants. So inside hierarchy, let's make another game object and rename it to game manager. Just move it to top. Alright, and here we add script game manager. To UI we add script UI controller, to game controller, and to ground controller. So now let's open them up. We have to make a singleton of it, so private static game manager instance, public static game manager instance, and edit get property return instance. Now inside wake function let's set instance to this, and let's add public game controller, public UI controller, and public ground controller. Now let's move to constants. Here we'll change this class to static class, delete this function, and move this class to namespace utils. And here we'll create static constants that we're gonna use along whole project. So first let's create public int current level 1. Okay, public static. Now let's set up the ground controller. So here we need, here we are gonna rotate the object, so let's go to transform, rotate, and we wanna rotate this along vector 3 dot forward, I think. Yeah, forward. It's multiplied by time dot delta time, and now we need speed, but let's add this variable to constants, and we'll create public static float rotation speed, and make it like 50. So in ground controller now multiply this by utils dot constants dot rotation speed. Alright, now when we move back to our project, and now when we run the game, right, so we need ground this to be kinematic, and actually I don't think we need this to be a rigid body demo component. Okay, so now run, and we can see that it's already rotating, but we can see it because it's simple color. So now let's add inside ground, create empty and layouts. These are gonna be layouts that are gonna spawn alongside levels. So let's create first like layout 1, and here we need create 2D object sprite coin. So let's add our coin here, coin, okay, where it is. Okay, it's kinda big, so let's scale it down to like 0.2. Okay, and add circle collider, make it trigger, tag coin, and now just add like 4 of them. So like duplicate, 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 and set this to rotate to 90, 180, and negative 90. Okay, now let's move them out and delete this helping game object. Delete. So now we have first layout, and now when we run the game we can see that they are nice rotating. So let's create empty game object, rename it to tree, and inside we need sprite renderer, and now let's add from so first we need to change sprite mode to multiple, hit apply, and in sprite editor we need to tile it. I already done it. Just slice, grid bar cell count, and cells 4, rows 2, slice, and hit apply. So let's add first tree to it. Okay, where it is. Okay, now we need to add box collider and change the size like this, and this, and move it down. Okay, and add tag 3, and then we need to add rigid body 2D. Alright, this is bad. Remove component, rigid body 2D, change to kinematic, simulated, and then let's box collider 2D. Okay, and change size X, Epsilon. Alright, and then we need to add one more script, and it will be tree controller, and we need to add our tree controller script to the tree. Okay, add tree controller, and let's make tree prefab. So just drag it into prefabs folder, and now we can delete this tree. And now we have to create a spawning. So let's move to game controller. Here we need to make instance to our tree prefab. So serialize field, private game object, tree prefab. And now we need to add list of that's trees, tree pool. Now we create another function void init, and here we're gonna fill up our pool. So we just start by adding like 15 trees to it, and let's game object where instantiate our tree prefab set game object to be false, and then tree pool add this object, and for start let's just initialize our tree pool new list game object. Okay, and now we are gonna call init function from the awake. Now let's move back to game, and inside game we're gonna add this prefab, and now when we run the game we can see that trees are already spawned. So first we need to make a function that will get us free tree from a pool that we're gonna spawn. So get next free tree, and what we want to do here is we want to go for tree pool dot count, and we need to check that, or we need to find the tree that is not active, that means that we can use him. So tree pool active, oh shit, active self, and when that object is not active that means that we can use him, so we're gonna return this object, return tree pool. Alright, and when we go through all the through all the trees in pool, and we're not gonna find any tree that is not spawned, we're gonna make a new tree. So game object, and we basically need this. So we're gonna create new, we're gonna add it to the pool, and we're gonna return it right after that. Alright, and now we are gonna activate next free tree. So public void activate tree, next tree. So as first we are gonna create tree controller tree, and we are gonna get next free tree and get component tree controller. Alright, and now we're gonna spawn the tree on position, but first we need to add serialize field private transform. We're gonna add position where the tree is gonna spawn, so tree spawning position, and we're gonna create that tree to transform parent to set parent tree spawning position, and now just copy and paste it a few times, tree position to this position, rotation to this rotation, and alright, and now let's just call this activate next tree right after this, so activate next tree. Now we'll move back to the Unity. We'll just need to add that position to game controller. Okay, tree spawning position here, and now when we run, one tree should already spawn here, and it didn't spawn because we didn't set this tree game object set active true. So now when we try it, is in tree controller scripts to actually make this tree move. So let's move to tree controller. So here we need to create serialized field private sprite renderer tree sprite, and we need one public variable boolean is moving, and we need another private rigid body 2D rigid body private collider 2D collider. Alright, in awake we're gonna initialize them. Rigid body get component rigid body 2D and collider get component collider 2D. Alright, change update to fixed update, and here we want to move object is moving, so if it's moving then transform dot translate vector 3 dot up grad time dot delta time, and we need speed, so let's go to constants and make public static float 3 speed and make it like, I don't know, 10. I'm gonna try it. So tree controller, and here we're gonna multiply it by utils constants 3 speed. Okay, and now we need public void spawn tree. We're gonna reset the values of the tree here. So first of all we set game object to set active true, then we set is moving to false, then our collider set is trigger to true, and rigid body type to rigid body type to the kinematic. Alright, and now we make another public function for activate tree, and here we're gonna tell the tree that is moving equals true. Okay, and now we move back to game controller. Instead of activate next tree we're gonna call spawn tree, and here, and now we need to make another private variable that will store the current tree, so tree controller current tree. We are gonna set this tree is our current tree, so current tree, and now inside update, if input get mouse button down, and here if and current tree, no, if current tree is not equal to null, then we are gonna tell our current tree to activate. Okay, now let's go back to the Unity and let's try it. So when I tap, our tree starts moving to opposite direction. So first I need to change the tree controller to not up but down. Okay, now let's try it out. Okay, but our tree doesn't collide with the ground, so let's go back to tree controller, and we need to add on trigger enter to the values. So let's make private void on trigger enter to the collider to the call. Alright, and now if call.tag equals to ground, sorry, we need to set is moving to false, transform parent, we need to set the call transform, then our collider, we need to set its trigger to false, and that's about it for now. So now let's try it out. So tap, and our tree is now moving with the ground. Spawn another tree when the first tree hit the ground. So let's go to tree controller, let's add another public bool can spawn tree, let's set false, go to spawn tree, here we're gonna set it to true, and now when we hit the ground we're gonna ask if can spawn tree, then we go to game manager, not instance, game controller, activate next tree. So now when I run the game, when I tap, okay, and object reference not set to an instance on trigger to the something, right, I didn't add game controller to the game manager, so game controller, UI controller, and ground controller. Now let's run it. Tap, another tap, 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 tap. Okay, so now I want to add another feature, and that's when the first tree didn't hit the ground, but I tap again, I want to spawn another tree, and to move with the new tree. So let's back to code, to game controller, and here we want to say that if current tree and no, if current tree is so here, if current tree is moving, else, and here we're gonna say that our current tree can spawn next tree will be false, and we're gonna activate next tree, and then current tree activate tree. So now every time I tap, I'm gonna spawn another tree and activate it right after that. So let's try it. Tap, 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 tap. Okay, now it's working. Cool. Now let's just scale ground a little bit more to like 0.6 because it's way too big, and change the text as well. Okay, and now we have to make that if one hit will hit another, the game will end, or when the tree will hit the obstacle. So go back to tree controller, and here let's add if, else if, call tag equals to tree or call tag obstacle, and we also want to check if the tree is moving, and is moving. So now we set is moving to false. We'll change rigid body body type to rigid body type dynamic. Then we're gonna add rigid body, we can add velocity, angular velocity to it, angular velocity to utils constant rotation speed, and that's about it for now. And we're gonna call game over, so game controller public void game over, and we're gonna add it to here to call it from here. So game manager instance game controller game over. Okay, so let's go back to Unity and try it. Tap, 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 and now when I hit it, tree fall, and game over will call. So now let's add one thing, and when we're gonna hit the coin, so if call tag equals to coin, then we're gonna call on game manager we need private int coin count. We need public void increase coin count by value, and coin count value, and we need to go to UI controller, and here we're gonna have function update coin count, and we're gonna call it from game manager. UI controller update coin count, and in tree controller we're gonna call game manager instance increase coin count by value 1, and call game object set active to false. Now let's try it. And when I hit coin, it disappears. Okay. If we pass the level, so first we need to add 3 variables: integer, 3 left to spawn, and another 3 left to pass the level. So now we have to make another function which we will call every time we plant the tree. So public void tree planted, and now we made another public void tree hit obstacle or tree. Okay, and this will call the game over, and this will call 3 left to pass the level. We have to decrease this one, and let's check that if 3 left to pass the level is lower or equal to 0, then we pass the level. So we need another function, public void next level, and here we're just gonna tell that utils constants current level increase. Okay, and here we go next level, and in activate next tree we need to add one more if statement, that if 3 left to spawn is lower equal to 0, then return. And with activate we have 3 left to spawn lower by 1. Okay, so this is pretty much about it. And now when in tree controller, when we hit the ground, we just gonna call game manager instance game controller tree planted, and here we're gonna call game over, and we don't really need this function anymore. Alright, okay, and every time we plant a tree we need to update that text field here. So we're just gonna go to UI controller, and here we make serialize field private text mesh row, and this will call tree left text, and we need to using the Pro, and here we make function public void refresh or update tree count. And we're gonna say that here tree left and tree left text tree left dot to string. Okay, and we go back to game controller, and here we just tell that game manager dot instance dot UI controller update tree count and how many by which value, and this value is 3 to pass the level. Okay, and now we go back to Unity, and we need to add this text field to UI, so I just move here and drag this one there. And one thing, when we run it right now, we didn't tell that how many tree left should be when the game start, so we just gonna call public void start game, and here we just say that tree left to past level equals to 10 and tree left to spawn equals tree left to past level, and we're gonna activate next tree, and we're gonna call start game instead of that one, start game. Okay, and now when we run the game, alright, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, and another tree didn't spawn, so let's move to another step. And now we just make some simple UI, so we'll go to UI, create empty, and that this will be menu, and another for game. So in menu we just want, like, I add UI image, something like this. Let's say that stretch, and where it is, right, yeah, because I need this to make stretch as well, and make this alpha a little bit lower, and okay, and we need canvas to order in layer increase, so it will render above our game. So this like menu PG, right, and let's add button text mesh pro. Let's make it a little bit bigger, move it back to center, and this will be button for play. Okay, and now we are gonna add a function to that button, which is that will be called when we press the button, and we want to call in game controller, we want to call start game. Okay, and that's pretty much it, and we want another like text field, UI text mesh pro, and let's set the anchor to center top and also set the position, and this, let's move it down so it will be rendered above the menu BG, and this will be our coins. Okay, so coin count, and now let's go to UI controller, and here we just gonna add serials field private text mesh pro UI, and this will be for coin count, so coin count text. And now we just make few more variables. We need header to make it menu, like we're gonna put all the menu variables here. So first we need to add game object for that menu UI, menu screen, and let's copy this and make it game, and here will be game screen. So now in update coin count, let's just update this text field, and we're gonna say the dot text, and it's coins plus, and let's add dot, where it is, right, we need to do tell value, so int val plus value, and in this calling we just gonna say that it's coin count. Okay, this is pretty much it, and now just few more, that public void to game, because when we go to game we want to set menu screen to false and game screen to true. Public void to menu, and this will be different. So here we're just gonna tell the menu screen true, game screen false. Okay, so now we go back to game controller, and when we start the game we want also to change UI to game, so UI controller and call to game, and when game over will be called, or next level, we're gonna call to menu, and we need to add one enumerator for holding state of game, and for game states we have currently just two, and it's menu or game. We just add it here, private game state, and for start game we gonna tell that game state is game state dot game, and for next level it will be menu, and same goes for game over. And now we're just gonna tell in update that when we press the button, and our game state has to be game state game, and same goes to activate next tree. We have to make sure that our game state is equal to game state dot game. Alright, now just move back to Unity and add those objects to the UI controller. So coin context is this one, menu screen is this, game screen is this, and we just make sure that in UI controller, that in start, that right after game will start, we will call to menu, and in game controller we gonna remove that start game from the awake function. So now when I start the game, alright, now I press play, tree spawn, alright, coin 1, 2, 3, 4, and when I fail, alright, and now I have to make a reset function that's gonna reset all trees and whole level progression when I start the game. So let's go back to game controller, let's add function reset game, and we're just gonna tell that for loop that tree pool dot count, that every tree in tree pool is, we set active to false, and reset game will be called here, and here. And one thing, I think one more, yeah, we need to add our layout. So let's go back here, let's make another header for layout, and we just set add private game, and we have to make another script for layout. So let's go back to Unity, move to scripts, and let's create C# script layout, and let's add a layout to this. Let's open it. So we just want to add one function here, public void init layout, and here we just say that every child of this layout, so every coin that is here, and we later add more obstacles here, will turn on when the game will start. So for transform dot child count, and we just say transform get child at position I dot game object dot set active to. Okay, now we just add layouts here, so layout, and make it an array and call it layouts. And in constants we add one more variable, public int static int current layout, and this will be like the index of the layout I'm currently using. So here in reset I'm just gonna tell that for and for every layout length I want to turn every layout off. Layouts set active false. Okay, and in start game we just will tell that layouts and position utils constants dot current layout set active game object dot set active true, and layouts, and I don't really need to do that like that, I make it differently. So this layouts on utils constants dot current layout dot init layout, and I'm gonna in init I'm gonna turn it to true. So here I'm just gonna tell the game object dot set active true. Okay, and now let's go back to Unity, and in game, yeah, in layout let's drag this layout there. Alright, so now when I run the game, play. Alright, I just use some coins, I get them, and I will fail the game. Alright, now when I played it again, I have 3 coins, but my text field didn't update, so when the game start, I also in game, when I go start game, and here I'm just gonna call game manager instance UI controller dot update 3 count, and for value 3 left to pass the level. Okay, and one more thing I want to do is like reset game right in start. So reset game. Okay, so now let's go back to Unity. I press play. Okay, I passed the level. Okay, next. And new one. Okay, so now let's just save progress, and let's show you another layout and some other possibilities, and that will be pretty much it.